I actually said it out loud. She cheated on me. Then I found the group chat that proved everyone knew before I did. Yes, all. Can you imagine realizing you're the only person in the room who doesn't know the joke is about you? That's what happened to me. Not just the cheating, the planning, the spectators, the way it was all built to make me look crazy if I noticed. I'm Mark. I'm 31 years old and I'm from Columbus, Ohio. If you've ever been blindsided, hit like, comment, and subscribe, because I swear this stuff happens more than people admit. Also, tell me what city you're watching from and what time it is there right now. I'm curious who's hearing this in the middle of the night. Now let's go back to 54 days ago when it all started. Back then, Lauren and I looked like the solid couple, 4 years together, engaged 8 months, wedding date locked, deposits paid. We lived in a small rental, saving for a house after the wedding. She worked marketing, mostly remote. I worked logistics, long hours, random calls, lots of stress. We weren't perfect. I can get distant when work is heavy. She can get sharp when she feels ignored. But we had a routine that felt real. Coffee in the same chipped mug. Grocery runs where we'd argue over brands and then laugh in the parking lot. Friday nights on the couch, her feet on my lap, me pretending I wasn't half asleep. That's why the first signs felt stupid. Like I was being dramatic. The first one was her phone. In bed, lights off, she'd get that iPhone tritone. Not a text, not a call. That little someone's trying to reach you quietly sound. She'd flip her screen down fast. Then she'd roll over, facing away. I told myself it was bridesmaid stuff, wedding group chat, normal. Then the bathroom. She started shutting the door completely, locking it sometimes. I knocked one morning and she snapped, "Give me a second," like I was a stranger. That hit me weird. We lived together. Why are you suddenly guarding toothpaste time? Then her SUV. I borrowed it during an oil change. It smelled like cologne. Not mine. Not her perfume. A sharp, woody scent like someone sprayed too much in the driver's seat. I opened the windows and convinced myself she gave a coworker a ride. Then the walks. After dinner, dark, cold, she'd grab her phone and earbuds and say she needed to clear her head. Sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes 40. When she came back, she wasn't calmer. She was energized, like she'd gotten a boost. Then the passcode change. We never had this strict privacy thing. We'd grab each other's phones to change music, check a recipe, whatever. One day her phone stopped unlocking for me. Face ID only, she said. Work security. I nodded even though my stomach tightened. None of it was proof, but it piled up. And once it piles up, your body reacts even if your brain tries to be reasonable. I started waking up at night for no reason. Not panicky, just alert. Like my brain was standing guard. Then came the night that pushed me over. Tuesday. She said she was going to her friend Megan's to finalize wedding stuff. Megan was her maid of honor, so I didn't question it. She kissed me on the cheek, not the lips, and left. That detail stuck, even though I didn't know why yet. Around 9:12 p.m., my call ended and I looked at the microwave clock, which is always 3 minutes fast. It said 9:15, meaning 9:12. I tried calling Lauren, voicemail. Tried again, voicemail. Then my phone buzzed. Bank app. New transaction, $86.43. A bar downtown. A sports bar Lauren doesn't go to. Not her vibe. Not Megan's vibe either. I stared at the notification like it would explain itself. I texted, "Everything okay?" She replied fast, "Yep. Sorry, phone died. At Megan's, ordering food." Phone died, but she texted me. My chest went hot. I almost sent, "How'd you text if it died?" Then I deleted it because I didn't want to start a fight with only a gut feeling and a bar charge. At 1:47 a.m., I heard the front door latch. Soft click. I sat up. Lauren came in quietly with her shoes in her hand. When she saw me, she froze. I said, "Your phone died?" Not loud, just sharp. She blinked like she wasn't ready. "Yeah," she whispered. Then Megan had a charger. I said, "What were you doing downtown?" She repeated, "Downtown?" Like she didn't understand the word. "The bar," I said. "The bank notification." Her face flashed anger. "Are you monitoring me now?" "We share an account," I said. "The app notifies me." She threw her shoes down harder than she meant to. "Megan and her cousin wanted to go out," she said. "We needed a break." "Okay?" I asked. "Why didn't you tell me?" She opened the fridge and stared into it like answers were in there. "I didn't think it mattered." "It matters when you lie," I said. She turned and hit me with, "Not everything is about you." Then she locked herself in the bathroom. That was the point of no return for me. Not the bar, the way she flipped it, the speed, the confidence, like she'd practiced making me the problem. The next morning she acted normal. Coffee, cute smile, TikTok laughs. Like the night before didn't happen. I felt like I was watching someone play a role. I tried to talk to my best friend Josh. We'd been friends since high school. He was supposed to be my best man. I told him the basics, the charge, the phone, the vibe. There was a tiny pause. Then he said, "Man, weddings make people weird. Don't blow it up." Josh is usually blunt. That softness felt wrong, but I still wanted to believe him. Then a smell brought it back. Lauren did laundry like she always does. That night I put on my black hoodie and smelled perfume and that same woody cologne. Not detergent, not fabric softener. Cologne. On my hoodie. I asked her, "Did you wash with something new?" She didn't look up from her laptop. "No, it smells like cologne," I said. She shrugged. "Maybe the dryer sheets." "We don't use dryer sheets." After that, I stopped arguing with myself. I told myself, "Get facts. Either she's lying or you're spiraling, and you can't live in the middle." So I tried a straight conversation. After dinner, I said, "I feel like something is going on. I need honesty." She crossed her arms. "About what?" I said, "The secrecy. The phone. You disappearing." She rolled her eyes. "Mark, I'm not doing anything. This is you." I said, "Then show me your messages. Not forever. Just to calm this down." Her face went cold. "No. Just no. No discussion. No empathy. No, I get why you're worried." I said, "We're getting married." She said, "Exactly. And I'm not marrying someone who polices me." That fight ended with her saying, "Maybe we rushed into this." And that line stayed in my head like a warning sign. That night, I got a text from Megan at 12:11 a.m. "Hey, Mark, you up?" I replied, "Yeah, what's up?" Typing dots. Stop. Then finally, "I don't know how to say this, but you need to be careful." My stomach dropped. I asked, "Careful about what?" No reply. The next morning she wrote, "I can't get involved. I'm sorry. I couldn't focus at work." I kept hearing that sentence. Be careful. Like I was standing in the road and someone saw a car coming. That afternoon, Lauren said she had a work dinner downtown. She dressed nicer than usual. More makeup. The perfume. She kissed me quick, then left at 6:30. At 7:05, my laptop chimed. An email confirmation popped up on the screen from a hotel. Subject, reservation confirmed. This is where it gets ugly because her Gmail was still signed in on our shared browser from when she printed shipping labels. I hadn't asked for access. It was just there, and I clicked because at that point, I needed the truth more than I needed to feel moral. The reservation was under my full name, my email, my phone number, but the card wasn't mine, and the note said, late check-in. Please keep this a surprise. I felt sick. She was using my identity to book a hotel and calling it a surprise. I called the hotel. I verified the reservation. I canceled it. 2 minutes later, another confirmation email hit. She rebooked it immediately, like she was watching, like she knew. That's when I realized this wasn't sloppy cheating. It was organized. I grabbed my keys and drove downtown. I parked across from the hotel and stared at the entrance like an idiot, hands sweating, heart hammering. My phone made a tiny ding notification sound, and it almost made me jump out of my skin. At 8:41, Lauren's SUV pulled up. She walked in calm, fixing her hair in the glass reflection like she'd done it before. 10 minutes later, a guy walked in. Tall, dark jacket, familiar walk. Josh. I didn't even feel anger first. I felt confusion, like my brain refused to accept the shape of reality. Then he turned enough for the streetlight to hit his face, and it was definitely him. My best friend. My best man. I sat there frozen. I didn't storm in. I didn't create a scene. I was too shocked. And honestly, I didn't want them to see me fall apart. I wanted control of at least my own face. I drove home with my hands shaking on the wheel. When Lauren came home, she was humming, like she had a good night. I was sitting at the kitchen table. She stopped when she saw me. Hey, I said, where were you? Work dinner, she said automatically. I said, with Josh. Her face went blank, like a mask fell off. What? She tried. I slid my phone across the table. I'd taken a photo from my car, blurry but clear enough. Josh at the hotel entrance, time-stamped. She stared at it. Then her first move was to attack me. Are you following me? She said. Don't do that, I said. My voice cracked. Don't make this about me being crazy. She sat down slowly. Mark, this isn't what you think. I laughed because it was exactly what I thought. Then tell me, I said. Right now. She looked down at her hands and picked at her nails. She does that when she's nervous. We started talking, she said. In a hotel, I said. It's complicated, she whispered. How long, I asked. She hesitated. Since October. My ears rang. And Josh? She nodded. I stood up, paced to the sink, gripped the counter. The faucet drip was loud in the silence. One drop every few seconds, like the world keeping time. I turned back. Why? I asked. She said, you were always working. He listened. I felt seen. I said, so you betrayed me with my best friend. She cried. I didn't plan it. Then she said something that hit even harder. And people know, she admitted. I stared. Who? She swallowed. Some of my bridesmaids. And Josh's friends? She didn't answer. And my family? I asked. She looked away. That's when the room changed, because cheating is one kind of pain. But being humiliated in advance, that's another. I told her to pack a bag. She asked, where am I supposed to go? I said, not here. She left with a suitcase. The wheels clicked down the hallway. Then the door latch clicked again. Quiet. Final. At 3:02 a.m., Josh texted me. Bro, can we talk? I replied, you were at the hotel. He said, "It's complicated." I said, "Don't come here." He said, "I need to explain." I said, "You needed to not do it." Then I turned my phone off. In the morning, I called my mom and told her the wedding was off. She cried, then got angry in that quiet mom way that scares you more than yelling. I called vendors and started canceling. Every call felt like ripping tape off skin. Some deposits were gone, non-refundable, money I'll never see again. Lauren started texting me like nothing was final. "Please don't cancel anything yet. We can fix this. I love you." Then the first comment hit my phone from a mutual friend. "Damn, bro, heard you went psycho." Psycho. That was the plan. That was the narrative they were ready to run. And that's when Megan finally sent me the thing that broke me. She texted, "I'm sorry, I can't watch this happen." They had a group chat. They were planning how to keep you calm and make you look like the bad guy. I asked, "Do you have proof?" She wrote, "Screenshots." My phone buzzed. One screenshot, then another, then another. It was a chat with Lauren, Josh, a couple bridesmaids, and one name that made my vision blur. My sister, Katie. Katie, who hugged Lauren at our engagement party and said, "Welcome to the family." Katie, who helped me pick the ring style. Katie, who knew me my whole life. In the chat, my sister wrote, "Just keep him busy with work talk. He's easy when he's tired." I stared at that line until my eyes burned. Lauren wrote, "If he asks about the hotel, tell him it's a surprise for him, like a mini honeymoon." Josh replied, "Perfect. He'll feel guilty for doubting you." They weren't just cheating. They were using my personality against me, my patience, my desire to keep peace, my habit of blaming myself first. And that's when I understood the real betrayal wasn't even Lauren or Josh. It was the circle, the way people smiled at me while they were in on it. I called my sister immediately. She answered like everything was normal. "Hey, what's up?" I said, "Katie, why are you in their group chat?" Silence. Then she tried, "What group chat?" I said, "Don't." Her voice got small. "I was trying to help." "Help who?" I asked. "Me? Or them?" She started crying. "Lauren told me you two were basically done," she said. "Josh said you were unhappy. I didn't think—" I cut her off. "You didn't think to tell your brother?" She said, "I was scared you'd hate me." I said, "I do right now." And I hung up. That call hurt almost more than the cheating, because it wasn't lust or impulse. It was loyalty. And she chose wrong. After that, I went into survival mode. I separated our bank accounts. I changed the garage code. I changed the Wi-Fi password. I kept my messages and screenshots in one folder. I called a lawyer for advice, not revenge. I just didn't want to be financially wrecked on top of emotionally wrecked. Lauren came to the house that night. She tried her key. It didn't work. She knocked hard. I opened the door but stayed in the doorway. She looked wrecked. "Mark, please." I said, "You booked a hotel under my name." She blinked, then said something that made my skin crawl. "I did that because I didn't want it on my credit. Not I'm sorry. Not I don't know why I did it. Just logistics." I said, "Get your stuff tomorrow." "Not tonight." She said, "You're humiliating me." I said, "You humiliated me first." She left. Josh showed up at my work a few days later. He waited outside like he was the victim. He said, "Just 5 minutes." I said, "You already took months." He tried the excuse everyone tries. "I was in a bad place." I said, "So you put me in one." He said, "Lauren told me she was leaving you." And that's when I realized the cheating wasn't random. It was a story being sold. To me, we're building a life. To him, you're basically already done, so it's fine. To everyone else, Mark is cold, Mark is controlling, Mark is unsafe, so Lauren is justified. Unsafe. That word popped up more than once. It was their shield. I didn't argue with Josh. I just looked at him and said, "You changed how I see people. That's what I can't forgive." Then I walked away. The weeks after that were quiet and loud at the same time. Quiet house, loud brain. I'd noticed stupid things. Her shampoo smell still in the bathroom, the dent on the couch cushion where she always sat, the little ding of my phone and my body flinching like it meant betrayal. One night I found a crumpled receipt in the couch cushions. Coffee shop I've never been to. 2 drinks. One was her oat milk latte with extra cinnamon. The other was a black cold brew. No sweet. That's Josh's order. He brags about it, like it's his personality. That receipt did something weird. It didn't destroy me. It clarified me. They weren't geniuses. They were careless. They just counted on me being decent. Megan met me in public for coffee later. She looked exhausted. She said, "They called it Operation Reset." I said, "Operation Reset?" She nodded. "A plan. Keep you calm through the holidays. Make you feel guilty if you ask questions. Move deposits. Control the story." Operation Reset. Like my life was a project. I asked, "Why tell me now?" She said, "Because it got mean. Lauren talked about taking you for as much as she could. Josh was cheering her on." She swallowed. I couldn't be part of that. I didn't hug her. I didn't praise her. I just nodded. Because at that point, my trust was expensive. And about my sister, Katie tried to apologize. She still is. She keeps saying, "I didn't know everything." Maybe she didn't, but she knew enough to laugh in that chat, enough to call me easy, enough to treat my feelings like something to manage. So we're not okay yet. We might be one day, but not because of one apology. Before the hotel night, there was one more moment I keep replaying, because it's when my gut tried to scream and I told it to shut up. We went to my parents' house for Sunday dinner. My mom had this whole wedding command center set up on her counter. Little sticky notes, printouts, seating chart drafts. She was excited in a way that made me feel guilty for even having doubts. Lauren played her part perfectly, smiling, touching my arm, laughing at my dad's jokes, saying, "Mark's mom is literally the cutest." She even brought my mom a candle as a thank you for helping with the guest list. It smelled like vanilla and pine. My mom melted. At one point, Lauren's phone did that tritone again. I saw her eyes flick to the screen, and for half a second, her face tightened. Then she stood up fast. "I'm just going to use the restroom," she said. She took her purse with her. Not just the phone, the whole purse. I watched her walk down the hallway, and I did something I'm not proud of. I picked up her phone from the table before she'd zipped it in. My hands were shaking. I tried to be casual, like I was just moving it away from my plate, but my thumb hit the screen. Locked. Face ID. I angled it toward her empty chair like it might unlock. Nothing. My mom was still talking about napkins. "Do you think ivory is too yellow?" My dad was cutting potatoes, totally unaware, and I was sitting there with my fiance's locked phone in my hand, feeling like I was doing something illegal. I put it down. Lauren came back and immediately slid it into her purse and zipped it. Then she smiled at me like, "What?" And I smiled back, because I'm stupid and I didn't want to ruin dinner. On the drive home, she turned the music up and sang, loud, happy, like she was trying to fill the car with noise so I couldn't hear my own thoughts. That night, I barely slept. Around 2:17 a.m., her phone buzzed on the nightstand, and I heard a soft vibration against the wood. She didn't move. I did. My eyes snapped open like I'd been shocked. Then it buzzed again. Then silence. In the morning, she was cheerful again. That's another thing people don't talk about. How someone can be warm and affectionate right after lying to your face. Not because they're evil movie villains, because they've already justified it to themselves. After the hotel confrontation, the normal life stuff kept happening around me like a joke. The mailman still brought wedding invitations from relatives who didn't get the memo. I still got work emails about freight delays. The neighbor still waved at me while taking out trash, and I'd wave back while my chest felt like it was full of static. Lauren tried every version of the story. First, she tried the mistake version. I was lonely, she said in a text. I felt invisible. I didn't know how to tell you. Then she tried the blame version. You're always working. You don't prioritize me. You don't listen. Then she tried the future version. Let's go to counseling. Let's pause the wedding. We can start fresh. Pause, like betrayal has a pause button. She even tried a nice version, the one that sounds mature. I'll take responsibility, she wrote. I don't want to hurt you. I want to do this respectfully. Respectfully. After a group chat called Operation Reset, after using my name to book her hotel, after letting me sit at my mom's table while she texted another guy. Josh had his own set of excuses. He texted, I didn't go looking for it. Then, she came to me. Then, you and I have been drifting anyway. Then, don't throw away our friendship over one mistake. One mistake, as if it was a spilled drink. I did meet Josh once, one last time, because I needed to hear him say it to my face. He asked to meet at a diner near our old high school. Same booths, same burnt coffee smell. The waitress called me Han and refilled my cup without asking, like she'd been doing it for 20 years. Josh showed up looking tired. His hoodie was inside out like he'd thrown it on in a panic. He slid into the booth and didn't even make eye contact at first. He said, Mark, I swear I didn't want this. I stared at him. But you did it. He rubbed his forehead. Lauren said you two were basically over. I said, and you didn't think to ask me? He said, I didn't want to hear your side, okay? Because then I'd have to stop. That honesty was almost worse, because it meant he knew exactly what he was doing. He just didn't want to feel guilty while doing it. I said, did you ever think about me? He looked up finally. Yes. I said, when? He swallowed. After. I said, after what? He didn't answer. We sat there with the clink of plates around us and the sound of a kid laughing in another booth. Normal life happening next to my disaster. I leaned in and said, tell me the truth. Were you guys planning to make me the villain? His face tightened. That wasn't the goal, he said. That's the kind of sentence that's technically a denial, but also basically a confession. I said, so what was the goal? He hesitated, then said, to get through the holidays, to avoid drama, to figure it out later. Figure it out later, meaning keep me calm while they enjoyed the benefits of my stability. I pushed my phone across the table and showed him the screenshot with Katie's message. He went pale. Your sister was in it? I said, yeah. He whispered, I didn't add her. I said, but you didn't stop it. He started crying, actual tears. And I know some people will think, oh, he felt bad. Maybe he did, but tears don't undo choices. I stood up, dropped cash on the table and said, "Don't contact me again." He said, "Mark, please." I said no, and I walked out. That was when I finally understood something ugly about myself too. I like being the steady one, the reliable one, the guy who can be counted on. It makes me feel useful. It makes me feel safe. And people like Lauren and Josh, they love that because it means you'll forgive, you'll delay, you'll doubt yourself before you doubt them. I saw that in the screenshots too. There was a message from Lauren. "He's gonna try to talk. If you keep him calm, he'll cool off." And Josh replied, "Yeah, he always comes around." That line made me feel both furious and embarrassed because part of me recognized it. I did used to come around. I used to apologize just to end tension, even when I wasn't wrong. I used to think love meant swallowing things. Not anymore. A week later, Lauren asked to come get the rest of her stuff. I said yes, but only when I wasn't home. I didn't want another scene. I didn't trust myself not to soften. So I took the day off work and went to my parents' place. My mom hugged me hard, like she was trying to squeeze the betrayal out of my body. My dad offered to go handle it, which is his way of saying he wanted to yell at someone. I told him not to. While I was there, Katie showed up, my sister, eyes red, face tight, like she'd been rehearsing an apology in the car. She said, "Mark, please." I looked at her and felt this weird emptiness, not rage, just distance. She said, "I didn't know about the hotel." I said, "But you knew enough to joke about me." She said, "I thought I was protecting you from stress." I said, "By helping them lie?" She started crying again. "I was stupid." I said, "Yeah." She asked me, "What do I do now?" That question made me mad because she wanted me to guide her feelings even after she hurt me. I said, "You sit with it." She flinched. I said, "You sit with the fact that you helped them humiliate your brother." And then I walked outside because I didn't want to say something I couldn't take back. When Lauren finally came for her stuff, the doorbell cam recorded it. I watched later, like an idiot, because I guess I like pain. She walked in with Megan, like it was a planned extraction. They moved fast, grabbing boxes, bags, hangers, shoes. At one point, Lauren stopped in the living room and stared at the couch where we used to watch movies and argue about endings. She put a hand on the back of it like she was saying goodbye. Then she looked straight at the doorbell camera, like she knew I'd watch, and she mouthed something. I replayed it 3 times. I'm pretty sure it was, "I'm sorry, and here's the messed up part." For half a second, my chest softened, because my brain remembers the good version of her, the version who rubbed my neck when I was stressed, the version who danced in the kitchen, the version I proposed to. Then I remembered the group chat, Operation Reset, and the softness vanished. After she left, the house smelled like her perfume for hours. It sat in the air like smoke. I opened windows even though it was freezing. The rumors kept spreading. Some people believed me, some didn't. Some said, well, maybe Lauren was unhappy. Like unhappiness is a permission slip. I got a message from one of Josh's friends, a guy I used to play basketball with. He wrote, "Look, man, Josh says you're making this bigger than it is." I replied with one screenshot. Just one. The one where Josh said, "He'll feel guilty for doubting you." The guy didn't respond after that. Another mutual friend wrote, "I don't want to pick sides." That line is always funny to me now, because not picking a side is still a choice. It just means you're picking comfort. At my lowest point, I almost took Lauren back. I'm saying that out loud because I want it to be real. It was around 11:36 p.m. on a Sunday. I remember because I looked at the clock on the stove and it was blinking from a power flicker earlier. I was sitting on the floor with my back against the couch, phone in my hand, staring at her last message. I miss you. I made a mistake. Let me fix it. I was exhausted, lonely, ashamed, and my brain started doing that thing where it edits the memory. It started showing me only the good clips. So I opened the screenshot folder again, not to torture myself, to anchor myself. And the first screenshot that popped up was Katie's message. He's easy when he's tired. I laughed out loud alone in my living room because it was true. I was tired, and they counted on it. I put the phone down. I didn't reply to Lauren, and that was the first time I felt like I chose myself in this whole mess. People ask, "Are you okay?" What they really mean is, "Are you functioning enough to make me comfortable?" So I started answering honestly. I'm not okay, but I'm clear. Clear that love without respect is just attachment. Clear that people who need you confused will always shame you for asking questions. Clear that privacy can be a weapon when it's used to hide betrayal. And clear that if someone can laugh about your pain in a group chat, they were never safe for you. Here's the part that people argue about. Some friends told me, "At least you found out before the wedding." Like that's a win. Yeah, I found out. But I also found out who I was surrounded by. And that changes you. I'm not perfect. I work too much. I got lazy about romance sometimes. I assumed love was stable because it had been stable. That's on me. But cheating isn't a relationship issue. Cheating is a character issue. And recruiting a whole group chat to keep the victim calm, that's not confusion. That's cruelty with a smile. So now I'm rebuilding, not in a dramatic montage way, in boring ways. New routines, new boundaries, new friends, slowly. A therapist, honestly, because I don't want to carry this into the next relationship like a weapon. I don't want to become the guy who suspects everyone forever. But I also won't be the guy who ignores his gut to avoid being controlling. Because the truth is, the first time I felt something